Here we are once again, the return, if you will, of the High Noon Hemp Show. Hopefully, everything is working well. Technology is still giving us problems. Last week was just a cluster F of just all proportions. I still don't know what happened last week, but we're here now, and hopefully, we're live, and hopefully, everybody can see us. I've often said before, the technology is amazing that gives us the opportunity to do this show, but it also can easily take away that opportunity pretty much at the snap of technology's fingers, if you will. Welcome everyone to the High Noon Hemp Show. We are here. It is Wednesday, noon Eastern Time. We are live, of course, and video on demand on Facebook. That's the Temptations Beach Facebook page. We are at Temptations on Twitter and the Jedi Hemp YouTube channel as well. You can find us if you want the podcast version of the show. Of course, just search the High Noon Hemp Show in places like Podbean, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify, all those wonderful platforms. I am Stoner Jesus. He is Beach, high above the Temptations location in Sharonville, Ohio. Go check it out if you get the chance. He is at the Hemp Quarters itself. Beach, how are things this week? The return, after 2 weeks gone, of the High Noon Hemp Show.
They are okay dokey, I suppose. It is good to be back. Hello, everyone. Still having difficulty sending, for some reason, like pics and videos don't want to be sent to you this morning other than the opening ones. But once again, thank you, everyone, for watching High Noon Hemp Show. It is true. I am Beach, and I am high above the Sharonville location in the Planet Everywhere Studios, bringing you the show. And remember, folks, the FDA has not evaluated this show for safety or efficacy.
Any day
so just remember that. Any day now. We can only hope.
Yes.
that is true. Now it's telling me my user word for my Yahoo is wrong, even though I sent you an email from that this morning. We'll see if it comes through a different email addresses. Maybe. Anyway, welcome everyone. Hopefully we can get the news picks in the chicken videos. If we can't get the chicken videos, I'm going to be very disappointed. But
yes.
Hopefully we can get those in the show today, and if not, they'll be in the show next week. Maybe, who knows? But let's jump right into the product spotlight. Now, basically, I'm going to do the same products that I did last week. If you watched, I went live. I tried to do a show. It kind of half worked. Obviously, we didn't have the graphics or the pictures, and my pictures didn't work very well. So hopefully these pictures will they'll come across a little better today. The first one is our Temptations brand Delta 8 carts. Delta 8 has become so hugely popular. And so we went ahead and decided to do our own Delta 8. Of course, we've been doing our own Delta 8 gummies for a little while and our own Delta 8 tincture. So this is kind of just adding on to our line of Temptations brand Delta 8 products. The next one is the fresh batch of wild hemp smokettes that we've got in. Again, 4 different flavors, including a menthol. You have a Pineapple, which is the most popular is the Pineapple, actually. Sweets, and then green, which I'm not sure what that really means. I think that's kind of more of a natural, the green pack. So and these are CBD flower in cigarette form. So much healthier than an actual cigarette. It's hard to explain. I can't because I'm not a doctor, I suppose, but one way or another. Then, of course, I tried to show the holiday cards. We have a full line of Green Spring Technology, and I'm sorry, Greenfield. I've been carrying Greenfield products for like 20, 25 years now, and I just flaked on their name. Greenfield paper products, and all kinds of different themes. No matter what holiday you celebrate for this holiday season, different ways to do that, because we recognize them all. Someone said Merry Christmas to me, so I said Merry Christmas to them. If someone said Happy Hanukkah to me, I'd say Happy Hanukkah to them. If someone said Happy Kwanzaa to me, I'd say Happy Kwanzaa to them. Nobody's trying to take away anybody's particular holiday beliefs or celebrations by saying happy holidays either. Again, there's more than one, you know. So anyway, uh, go old school with an old school card maybe
Right.
this holiday season. And then the last one, and I talked about these for Hanukkah. These are beeswax. I don't know if they qualify for Hanukkah candles. I'm not Jewish. I don't know the particulars for that. But if you like the menorah, maybe you want to do it with some hemp wick. So these are beeswax, 100% beeswax candles, but they have a lavender scented hemp wick. So it might calm you a little bit. Lavender is known to calm. So maybe these will help calm as well during the crazy, hectic holidays season. And I spell that with a Z, by the way. That's holidays. It's hard to come across oddly. When I write it, people don't understand exactly what I'm saying. But when I say it, it's a little more confusing. And this was probably one of the earliest. So that's 4 from the store. Now the one from my door is actually a double feature. This was one of the earliest years that our local skiing / snowboarding hill has actually already opened. That's how cold it's been here. Normally they open before Thanksgiving, and that normally does not happen. So I figured maybe I'd just feature my snowboard, which is hemp. There are some layers. So if you do or don't know, a snowboard, like a skateboard, is made in layers, very thin layers put together. That gives it flexibility and also allows it to be stronger depending on what they're actually putting in those layers. And hemp, they've been putting hemp in skateboards for a little while and snowboards for a little while. So that's a 420 snowboard. And then, yes, those are a pair of Nike hemp snowboard boots. I know they do not make these anymore. I was lucky enough to find a pair that actually fit me. I was not lucky enough, or I'd have a complete set, and I may have to start looking again because I actually found some hemp boot binders they just had the fabric where they looped over the top of your boots. But I did not buy a pair, which I now feel bad about because I would have then a complete set of snowboard bindings and boots, all with hemp, which would be pretty cool. Pretty cool indeed. So I might have to go back on the search and see if I can actually find a pair of those. I doubt that I can find a pair of those snowboard bindings in good enough shape at this point, because they were probably at least 10 years old. 15 maybe is when they made them. It's been a while since I remember finding them. I think I found them on eBay, and I considered buying them. They were a little expensive, but I considered buying them at the time, obviously, just to have a complete collection, but I didn't. Now I'm gonna have to go back and see if anybody still has them on eBay, if they're anywhere around, or someone maybe is making them new. It's been a while, so there may be more companies now that are actually using them, hemp in their bindings than I know about. So I'll have to do a little research. I'm actually a skier. My son was a snowboarder, but I grew up skiing. 2 boards are better than 1. It was my saying now. I just made that up actually, because I don't know that I can snowboard, but I can ski. But I could never slalom on the water. I could never do a slalom ski on the water. So again, I was 2 boards better than 1 when it came to water skiing as well. That's why I kind of feel like, I'm sure I could do it if I really had to. But anyway, so there you have it, folks, from the product spotlight. 4 from the store, 1 from my door here on the High Noon Hemp Show.
Which, of course, as always. By the way, getting back to the happy holidays thing, if you wish me happy Boxing Day, I will ignore you. So don't do that. Thank you. It's time, of course.
I will say box on.
For the greatest
boxers
in internet history, Of course, I'm talking about the beachwear segment. No awards yet. I've checked recently, scoured the internet. Zero awards for this segment, but soon to be award winning best segment in internet history where hemp and fashion collide. And Beach shows you what he's wearing. And he does that because I straight up ask him, what are you wearing, Beach?
That's right. If you're curious, what are you wearing, Beach? Today, I went store themed, purple and green. And that's right.
Yeah.
Our store colors are purple and green. I don't know if I've worn the combination like this a whole lot on the show. So purple and green it is today. Up on the top there is a Lost Harvest hat from way back when. Now we just picked up some Lost Harvest frisbees. So I think they're still doing stuff out there. Maybe that is a hemp hoodlam jacket. My long sleeve button down, layered up because it's getting cold here again, is the Hemp Company long sleeve button down. We have plenty of those in the stores and all kinds of sizes probably if you need a good button down. Again, this is probably 10 years old long sleeve button down that I wear more like a jacket kind of than anything else. Perfect shape still. Perfect shape. Underneath that is a Planet Everywhere printed U.S. hemp t-shirt. Printed right here, and that's an Ono t-shirt originally, or that we printed on. You can see my Hemptopia briefs over there. Over the top of those, I've got a pair of Dash Hemp jeans, and you can go online and check out Dash Hemp stuff. I'm pretty sure they still exist and have products out there. Great stuff. Always made really nice clothing. These jeans are. I don't wear them enough, but they're definitely like a nice, thicker, but yet still pliable. They're soft. You just feel how durable they are, but they're still soft. They're not, And as we always say, hemp breaks in. Hemp wears in, not out. That was something we came up with a long time ago. We need to start using it again. Hemp wears in, not out. You can look closely there to the Green Springs Technology pen. Sitting in the pocket as usual. Got my Satori knee-high Canna-Leaf socks on. Again, cold weather. I like to keep warm. And then bringing it all together down there on my feet, there are some Adidas sneakers. And that is and I don't know what that version Adidas is called. I haven't seen a whole lot of Adidas that are actually that look like these. You've got your Sambas, you've got your Shell Toes. I've got plenty of pairs of those. This is the only pair of hemp Adidas that I have that actually look like this cut, which I believe is a skateboarder cut. And I don't know, I think a newer cut or look to Adidas, but probably based maybe on skateboarding as opposed to soccer, which is where most Adidas sneakers shoes came from the Shell Toes to the Sambas, one way or another. So there you have it. From head to toe, what are you wearing, Beach? A little purple and green today on this last day of November. Episode 197, folks, by the way. So I'm going to have to maybe do something. I have two more episodes to figure out what to do for the third episode. That's going to be huge. 200th episode of the High Noon Hemp Show coming up soon. So maybe 200 pictures of hemp products. I mean, that would almost be too easy.
Yeah.
Because inevitably speaking, and again, there has been a crossover when we get there at 4 products an episode. That's 800 pictures of hemp, and then again all the news. We've easily shown over 1,000 pictures of hemp stuff in this little run of ours that we've been doing. Crazy. Thanks everybody for watching. We truly appreciate it, whether you're watching live or Memorex, as we used to say. You're learning about hemp one way or another, I hope. All right, let's get into the news. Now I got a little bit of some of the news. I don't know if did the news picks ever show up?
Nothing ever came. Nope.
Yeah. All right. Well, more news without picks. That's fine. Someday we're gonna have like a show with only like 20 picks of all the picks we've missed from all the shows recently. It's working out well for the podcast, though, right?
Yeah.
You're not missing anything, podcasters, except for What Are You Wearing Beach, which did come through today for some reason. It's still super weird how one email comes through and then 20 minutes later, 2 more won't. Anyway, here's an interesting a UK study. A study in the UK showed that taking up to 6,000 milligrams of CBD daily is safe, and 400 milligrams a day is exceptionally safe. So you can feel confident. It's kind of interesting because the UK actually has guidelines for the maximum daily dosage, which is actually only 70 milligrams is what they recommend. That would be the same FDA recommendation if the FDA would recommend. But they won't do that either yet. And so that's why, again, on the back of anything that has CBD, you can't put recommended daily dosage like is on everything else because of the FDA's dragging its feet, continuing to drag its feet. Although, ironically, they did go ahead and jump on a company over the last week or so. And I talked about this last week about using kid attractive packaging, packaging attractive to what they say kids, which again doesn't matter. Only FDA drug, CBD drug approved is for kids. So I'm not sure why that's even an issue, to be honest with you. I get it. I do get that, honestly. But also, they sent out a warning for CBD in food and beverages to this particular company. And I talked about how Molson is now jumping out of the CBD game because they can't market it in the United States. They cannot market CBD drinks in the United States because of the FDA. And again, I don't know. The only reason that the FDA could get on someone is because, once again, the labels on these food and drink products must give information that they're not supposed to give. I don't know. I honestly am not sure. Again, obviously, it's just not FDA approved, but that doesn't. You can still put it in food and drinks. You just can't say that it's FDA approved. You can't say that there's a recommended daily dosage. You can't say it has this many calories. You can't say it has this nutritional value. You can't list it. Well, I don't even know. I mean, I feel like you should still be able to list it in the ingredients. You can't put something in there and then not. I mean, that's irresponsible in itself. And so I can't, and so, this stupid line that the FDA refuses to cross, continuing to refuse to cross is really, it's just harboring and holding back an industry. And, these things are all still out there. It's just holding back. And, that's fine. I suppose some people can say, well, that's keeping the big companies out of it. And that's good for all of us little guys, and so if the big companies continue to stay out of it, that just establishes more time for the smaller companies to get that customer base when everyone does, in fact, decide to add CBD to everything that they do. And again, that's going to take the FDA. The FDA is still dragging their feet. In a sense, helps all the little guys, in my opinion, because it keeps all the big guys out of the game. For the most part. So, they still need to do something. So even us little guys can put it on the label. Hey, this amount is good, or this is recommended, or whatever. Quit treating us like criminals for giving us something that millions of Americans at this point are using daily, one way or another. Here's an interesting one. This study showed that CBD does not affect the side effects of THC Delta 9. There is a CBD THC hangover relief out there. I have seen, a lot of people say that using CBD, if you're having, if you've had too much THC Delta 9, you're not, the effects are too much for you or something, using CBD would help. Now, of course, basically what they did is they had 10 milligrams, 20 milligrams, and 30 milligrams of CBD given to people that were all getting 10 milligrams of THC. Now, does 10 milligrams cause a lot of side effects? How would you gather? I mean, obviously you rate the side effects, and it's kind of weird, because, if the THC Delta 9 makes you anxious, then the CBD would just naturally help balance that out, I would think, because of its calming effect. So, once again, that's one of the things that is getting claimed out there, is CBD is good for over THC, so to speak. But in the same sense, what we're really finding out is that 1-to-1 ratio, 1 milligram of THC Delta 9 to 1 milligram of CBD, is a really good ratio for pain relief. I was just talking to one of my customers about this, and this is from the customers. They found that the new legal THC Delta 9 edibles that we have that are a 1-to-1 ratio are really working well for them. So, there's everything in cannabis affects everything in cannabis. One way or another, how much or how little. And again, that's why you can't synthesize cannabis. There's over 500-600 components that go into making everything that we get out of cannabis. And again, you can only get all of those things, for the most part, in flower form. And then every time you break it down into some other form, you're bound to lose some of those components or move them around. If you go for the isolate, then you lose them all, other than whatever the isolate is. So, but I do find it kind of interesting that this study did show that CBD really doesn't affect the side effects of THC Delta 9. Well, I would be showing you a picture of a family installing some hemp insulation in their house. And this was an interior designer decided to re-insulate their house, and they used hemp insulation. Again, the really fun thing about this is they just have these stacks of hemp insulation in the house, and the kids, everybody's helping because they don't need any protective gear like you would fiberglass. It's no, and it is rated as just as insulative, soundproof, mold resistant as fiberglass insulation. So it's exact, basically same product, but guess what? It's earth friendly. It's human friendly. You don't have to feel, bad about breathing in any of this. And in the article, they said the best feature, it's carbon negative. That's right. Carbon negative, as we're finding most hemp products are carbon negative at this point. So environmentally, once again, it's kind of a no-brainer. It was, it's funny, they posted this video on, one of the social media places, and then people were like, can't believe we didn't know about this, and hey, this is awesome and all this stuff. And it's true. Most people don't know about it. When you go build a house right now, they're not offering you hemp insulation as a great, safe insulation, but they should be. You should have it. It should be an option. If you're sitting down and you're going to build a house, use hemp insulation. Feel good about breathing that in every day and allowing it to do its job, keeping you warm in the winter and cool in the summers, because that's what insulation's real job is. Oh, here we go. You found it. You found a picture. It's online somewhere, right? And so again, this was the same. This picture is a picture, and I showed a picture again of a whole family standing around, the kids playing with the hemp bedding. And again, this is how safe hemp is. You would never have your kids in a house while it was being insulated with fiberglass insulation. I can tell you that right now. I mean, it's just crazy to think that would be the case. But here you have it, an interior design, and again, when someone in the industry picks it as an option, then it's probably the right option, in my opinion. So how cool is that? And again, hemp insulation has been around for a while. It's huge in France. It's a huge industry in France. Just now, again, I think making its way to the United States as far as someone actually manufacturing. And I'll have to look in to see if anybody is actually manufacturing. I'm pretty sure they are. I think the same company that makes the hemp air filters possibly makes hemp insulation, which I need to look into again as well to get some hemp air filters. So building a house, once again, you can build a house basically from the ground up using all hemp as everything. And here's more proof of that. Hempcrete makes great insulation, we have found. So does hemp fiber, using two different parts of the plant to get the same results you would from concrete or fiberglass insulation, comparatively speaking. Now, this is actually an event, but I do want to talk about it in the news because I think it's as much news as anything. So Oregon State Science Pub Talk, December 6th, is going to be on using CBD or hemp as a treatment for COVID-19. Okay. This is December 6th at 6 p.m. You can go to Eventbrite. The event is called Science Pub Corvallis Virtual. It's an Oregon State event. You can search online, I'm sure, for that. You can go live. They want you to register either way. So, figure out how to register online if you want to go into the event, or go to Eventbrite and register for the virtual event. And again, they've done the studies. And so, it's going to be very interesting. And there's, once again, something that we're not hearing about it in public. But this is something that I've been reporting on this over the last year or so as these studies come out and show. Last week, I think, or 2 weeks ago, I reported how they found that it prevents COVID-19 from entering the human cells, and one of the first studies that was done showed that it prevented and reduced the side effects of the SARS side effect, which is the one that gets in your lungs. And so if you have any interest in gathering more information on hemp as a treatment for COVID-19, again, this is December 6th at 6 p.m. Eventbrite, there you have it. It's the Science Pub Corvallis Virtual if you want to go to the virtual. And then there is a way to register online as well if you want to go in person. So it's around Oregon State University, wherever that is. I don't know. One way or another.
Somewhere in Oregon. So there you go.
So we're in Oregon indeed. I feel like if really word gets out, this could be a huge virtual event.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I really feel like anyone in the CBD industry has an interest in this particular topic for sure, because, COVID-19 is going to be with us for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So get yourself a bottle of hemp patient's tincture, find out, what to do to help yourself stay safe.
There you go.
So I needed some deodorant. Usually I buy my hemp deodorant on Amazon now because it's the easiest, best place to find it. So I thought, I'll give Kroger a try. We've had pretty good luck finding hemp products at Kroger. And I did. I was like so excited. I'm looking a big rack of, hundreds of deodorants, and they have some natural lines, and the natural lines didn't have it. Um, and all of a sudden, look, there's Old Spice. I have a picture of it, but you can't see it. And again, a big hemp leaf on the front, Old Spice, and it's kind of down in the corner middle, not tucked away with the deodorants. And it was the only Old Spice that they said had hemp in it, but it was clearly marketed for hemp. And so I was like, oh yeah, okay, cool. And I started to throw it in the cart, and I was like, you know what? Check the ingredients on this. So lo and behold, I go to check the ingredients, and guess what, folks? It's aluminum based. Okay, it's not even a part of their non-aluminum based deodorant. All right, and you go and you look at the ingredients, and it's the very last ingredient. Okay, now if you don't know how ingredients work in the United States, it's by weight. Okay, so they're listed by weight. First ingredient is the most. That's going to have the most amount of that in it by weight. And then so on and so on. So when you get to the last ingredient, that is the least used ingredient in all the ingredients. And so here they are adding hemp. It could be 2 drops, like literally 2 drops of hemp oil from the seed in this. But once again, what are they doing? They're making it look like it's a hemp product. Okay, this is not a hemp product. This is a product that has hemp in it. It's clearly not a hemp product. But which really irks me, because the benefits that you get out of hemp are ridiculously lost on this marketing, because that's all they're doing is they're marketing. They put a hemp leaf on there. They're just like me. If I hadn't looked, I would have got home, and then I would have looked, and I would have had to throw this thing in the trash because it's aluminum based. It's got aluminum in it. I don't want aluminum in my deodorant, as well as a lot of other things. Now, there weren't a whole lot of other ingredients, so it was minimal. But again, you just can't. And Old Spice has a line of non-aluminum deodorants. And so to me, it's just, I was so excited, and then I was so disappointed. It's it's like it's so aggravating. That everyone should be using hemp oil in their deodorants, but getting rid of it, So back to Amazon, and go back to my tried and true, actual all natural, cleaner version deodorant with hemp in it. Clean up come on, Old Spice. At least add it to your all natural or more natural or better, healthier products, but don't put 2 drops in their current aluminum one and then repackage it with big hemp leaves all over it. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff that truly irks me. That's what I'm here for, folks. So you don't make the same mistakes that I almost did by thinking, hey, there's a hemp product. Beach has always recommended that, telling us if there's a hemp product on the shelves to buy, you should buy it instead of the other version. And again, if you use aluminum deodorant now and you're okay with aluminum in your deodorant, then I would wholeheartedly recommend using the hemp seed oil deodorant, not knowing how much there really is in there.
If you look right there, it says it's advertised on Kroger's website as aluminum free.
Oh, now see, well, maybe
It was weird.
That is weird, because I swear that now maybe this is a different one than the one that I picked up, although that looks pretty familiar. Now I'm going to have to go back, and I do still have a picture on my... Now I'm going to have to go back and look. Yeah, it says right there on this package, it says aluminum zirconium tetrachlorohydroxyl. I mean, that's right on the front of it. on this particular. Now, see, this is the Alpine. Is that the Alpine, or is that just?
It's the Alpine,
It says Alpine.
Yeah.
I am so
with
confused.
hemp seed oil.
I am just so confused as to. Interesting. I could because I does it.
There's aluminum in it. It's something they already need to fix because they got big letters.
Yeah, right. And I'm pretty sure I'm. Oh, well, I might have to look at it closer next time, but and it was interesting in the picture that I have up in the top corner. It says something like figure. It's like this is a brand new packaging because it still has like figure something hemp leaf. Like they forgot to that's where the hemp leaf was supposed to go, but they forgot to take the label out. So that's where it was going. Anyway, we can only hope. No, figure 2 hemp leaf. That's just their marketing thing. It's got hemp seeds even down there by the leaf on it. I can't see the one on ours very as well to see if it's even the same
Let's see.
bottle. Oh man. But yeah, anyway, I'll have to look closer now because that's kind of contradictory because I'm pretty sure right on the front of this bottle it says aluminum something, which is why I put it back.
Yeah.
Ay, ay, ay. But see, I don't see it on that one. I don't see it the same. It's not the same label. So maybe they have an aluminum free. Why would they do that? But they have an aluminum free hemp version. It's just not on the shelves with the aluminum Alpine hemp version. Oh, crazy. Does it list the ingredients?
That's what I was looking for. I don't see it anywhere. This is reviews.
Because I would like to. It'd be interesting to see how the ingredients line up on that. Well, anyway, keep your eyes open, folks. It's good that companies are adding hemp to stuff, but terrible that they're in fact doing it the way they're doing it sometimes. But Kroger, good news from Kroger. They are adding a hemp burger to their lineup, 700 locations, and it's going to be part of they're adding a lot more plant-based foods, which are being provided by a company called Plant-Based Foods, which I've talked about the plant-based foods hemp burger before. Unfortunately, they're not going to be in Ohio. Apparently, Ohioans are not clamoring for non-meat burgers like they are. A lot of the places I saw was kind of the West, which makes sense. California is probably a much bigger market. But I would love to see them added to the frozen section here. I'm going to start looking more just to see if what they do carry in a hemp patty, so to speak. Now, a hemp burger to me is different than like a hemp patty where they're trying to make, because some of the ones don't taste anything like hamburger, or they don't, and again, I keep saying and will continue to say, and that's why the Impossible Burger exists. That's why these Beyond Burger exists. That we have to make meat eaters think they're getting meat before they'll choose a non-meat item. The vegetarians will eat it. The vegans will eat it no matter what. Whether it tastes like real hamburger or not. They don't care, honestly. But if we want to convince meat eaters to eat a non-meat substitute, it has to feel, taste, and be pretty close to the same. Which is what, again, the Impossible Burger and the Beyond Burger and all these, and the plant-based burger. Hopefully, I haven't tried the plant-based. I've tried Beyond. I've tried Impossible, both of those, and they're pretty good substitute. And so, it'd be interesting to see. So hopefully that goes over well in all those locations for Kroger's, and they go ahead and add it to every Kroger's in the country, which is a lot.
Yeah.
Because I think they only had like 10 states listed, and it was 700 stores. So there's thousands and thousands of Kroger's out there. And I'll have to start paying better attention. I did find my some hemp milk at the Kroger's, and it's all there. I've been telling everyone it's hemp foods and goods are on your grocery store shelves. You just have to really kind of look. You have to, find it. Sometimes, and again, I was like trying to get some cereal just to see if anybody was doing that and I didn't find it. You have to look at the ingredients because a lot of companies aren't even telling you it's not on the label, but they're just adding it. It might say, now with hemp or something. But, just having it in there it's okay. It's okay. Apparently being a hemp farmer has the same logistical problems in Scotland as it does here. It was an article about how they have excess license fees for the most part, or a license fee that seems kind of silly. And the most interesting part is what they're finding out is this is a 3-year license, and at the end of the license, a lot of these farmers are actually getting denied to get a relicense because I think that what I read from, and again, here we go with making it criminal and everything, is the fact that they're looking at the license and they're being more judgmental about where the farm is. So if it's too close to a main road, all of a sudden they're not going to renew the license. And so you could have been growing your hemp there for 3 years, no issues. And then all of a sudden now, because they're looking at it and they're going, oh, wait, we shouldn't reissue this because it's a threat to society. Which, again, what a ridiculous way to look at it.
Yeah.
Because it's not. It's just a ridiculous way to look at it. And so I feel for you, Scotland, because apparently you have the same issues that we have here in the United States in a lot of places, is that it is still being treated as a criminal activity to farm industrial hemp. And, unfortunately, we're still 5-10 years away, I think, before nobody's paying attention anymore. Nobody's, we're just growing hemp, we're doing it, and everybody's making it out of whatever they want to make it out of. And most of the countries that it's already being grown and being made into things anyway. And we've moved on, but we're still pretty far from those days. But every day moving closer. If we get cannabis taken off the controlled substance list here in the United States, it'll be a huge boom or boon to the industrial hemp farming as well, because it will be looked at less and less as a criminal activity. And of course, industrial hemp is not on the controlled substance list anymore. That was the 2018 Farm Bill. And so, hopefully the newest Farm Bill that should be out there next year, signed next year, maybe it shores up some things as to the controversial issues of it still, but I don't know what else they can really do. We really need to raise the CBD percentage, but I don't see them doing that with this Farm Bill, to be honest with you. I don't think we're quite there yet. They're quite happy. And I think, with the 0.3%, even though we're not as far as the hemp movement, again, I think that I would love to see them look into an exception of THC content for growing for fiber and growing for grain. There's no THC crossover into the seed. And there's no THC crossover into a pair of jeans if you're going to make clothing out of it. And so again, it shouldn't matter what the THC content is in that. I understand it when you're growing for the flower and CBD. That's one thing, but there's zero concern of THC contamination when it comes to growing for the fiber or growing for the grain in the food. If the seed is cleaned properly, which it is anyway now, then there is really nothing on the surface. That would be the only way for the THC to be there, is to come from the flower into the seed, which again, when you grow from grain, all you have is grain. Again, you have no viable flower even left. This is the one thing that any cannabis grower growing a Delta 9 would tell you. The worst thing that can happen is your flower gets full of seeds. It's gone. It's done. It's no good. And so again, that plant, that flower is not even a threat to kids coming along if you're growing for the grain and cutting it off. There's no benefit of that. And so we'll see. We're gonna, I haven't really heard anything yet as to any real industrial hemp changes in the Farm Bill. So we'll see what's going on with that. I'm sure. Hopefully, we'll hear soon. But I don't really think they're going to make much changes. I don't see too many federal level changes on industrial hemp. I think they've got it where they want it, and they're leaving it up to the states anyway for the most part. So, I don't see much changing when it comes to industrial hemp. They've clarified everything that needs to be clarified in the 2018 Farm Bill, to be honest with you. And so I don't see them making too many changes. I think that they should when it comes to testing. They should when it comes to THC content, but I don't know, how much of that's really going to happen. Well, I did have some recipes for some foods. Hopefully we'll get those on there. Oatmeal cookies, ginger sprinkle cookies, and pumpkin nut bread. Excuse me, all with hemp. I'll try to get those. I'll just post those to the Facebook page and Twitter and whatnot, so you can have them if you want them. So hemp-based faux leather is in the works. Now, I think I kind of might have hinted about this maybe like 6 months or so ago. So I'm going to kind of watch it. The article really didn't have too many details other than there is a company that is, in fact, trying to develop a leather-like fabric using hemp. It's going to be kind of interesting to see how that works. Leather is going to be hard to replicate. The feel of leather is going to be hard to replicate using hemp. We can do it synthetically. And again, my problem with synthetic is, the cows are saved, but then you have synthetic waste. Okay. The planet has no means of disposing of synthetic waste. And then, of course, who knows how long that synthetic leather even, like how long is that going to sit in the landfill after you're done wearing it? And it's all eeks, So it'll be interesting. They can do a hemp-based faux leather that looks and feels pretty leathery, so to speak. It'll be big, one way or another. Well, I think that's about it, because the only other things I was going to show is the pic of the nature pavilion I talked about last week, and the
a bunch of emails just came through.
What?
Yeah, like 5 emails just came in.
Hey, we might be able to get to those chicken videos after all.
That's right. There we go.
Let's just see. Okay. Now this is the pavilion. Now I did report on this pavilion. It is now open over in the Netherlands, and the walls. Okay, the walls are made with the hempcrete. So that pink hempcrete walls. Everything at this nature pavilion was locally sourced. The pink, they said, came from like some seashell. I don't know. It was something local. And then all the plants inside are local plants to the Netherlands. I don't know if they have one or not, but what I really thought about the botanical garden in Amsterdam that I went through 10 or 15 years ago, they had a cannabis sativa plant growing out on display. The sign, this is cannabis sativa, used for blah or whatever. And it was a part of the botanical garden display. Now, I don't know if they're actually growing a cannabis plant in this, but I think that would be really cool if there was at least one cannabis plant in there saying, hey, the walls of this pavilion were made from this plant. Okay, don't try to smoke it. One way or another. But it was pretty neat to just be walking through the Amsterdam Botanical Garden, and then all of a sudden we're outside on the path, and boom, there's a hemp plant growing as part of the display. And so they're definitely hip to hemp in the Netherlands. So if you're over there, check out this little nature park that they built that is indoor. It's kind of, well, it's not indoor, but it's walled in. And again, those walls are industrial hemp, and everything is locally sourced one way or another. So that hemp was grown locally as well. Let's see, do we have the pic of the art? The hemp, the art, it looks like
a little squiggly
there
line.
it is. Yeah. So this is the 1970s art compilation. Let's see, what did I do with that? I think it's right here. This was made by a South Korean artist, Ha Chung Hoon. It was called Conjunctions. And again, he used hemp canvas in many different ways. This is actually like, again, if you look closely, it's kind of like barbed wire straightened and then poked through, like individually. And I guess he did a lot of, just kind of rubbing in the paint into the canvas, which absorbed it, well. And of course, canvas, the word canvas comes from cannabis. There's something that I have never be interesting to see. Are there famous artists out there? Does Salvador Dali paint on hemp canvas? Did Picasso paint? Any of these famous artists? I can't imagine how any artist, especially the older, I feel like the older the artist was around, the better chance that they were painting on hemp canvas. But I've never actually had anyone verify that. I'm going to have to do some research and see if they, if they tell you the specifics of what the canvas was made out of that the famous artist was painting on. Something never mentioned. But I can't imagine how some of it has to be hemp. It has to be. So I might have to do a little bit more research. I've never thought to do any research on that before just now for some reason, even though I knew of using hemp canvas as art palette. And so, and again, I cannot imagine how hemp canvas wasn't worn. But I look at the Wright brothers playing, and they don't mention that it's hemp, and I don't think that it is. But I can't imagine how there wasn't hemp being used in those, because it was a lot of fabric back in those days. And again, I don't know why that wouldn't have been the fabric of choice, but I've never seen them say that it was made out of hemp. A lot of times they don't really tell you. And then when they don't tell you, sometimes I believe it is the better chance that it's hemp, because they're trying to suppress the information because of stupid morals and fear that people are like, oh my God, it's made out of hemp. It's like, yeah. So were most of the sales that brought most of the Europeans here, if not all the sales that brought all the Europeans here. That canvas that took the Europeans across America in their colonization of America. There's a lot of hemp being used then. That's for sure. So, hey, art enthusiast, let me know if you have any details on said things. I am curious. Curiouser and curiouser, as they like to say. All right. We got most of the picks in there. Did the videos come through?
They did. I'm loading them up now, and hopefully they work.
Okay. If you've been watching the show for a little while recently, you may know that we're out on what we call the Chi-Chi's Chicken Ranch, and we have just started adding hemp seed into the chickens' diets, and I talked about this a couple weeks ago. Again, the correlation causation element. So here they are. This is the man. Once they figure out what it is, watch it. They love it. I have some pictures of my friend's chickens like 5-10
Yep.
years ago when I was down there, and I took them some. And they just, I mean, they ate every piece of hemp on the sidewalk we threw down. This is a fun one. They know the package. You can hear the dog that loves the chickens or hates the chickens. I'm not sure, but you can see we put the package. And they're like, we know what's in there. We
Yeah.
want some.
Wow.
And again, this is only after just a couple weeks of giving the chickens. We took that video, I think, 2 days ago. And again, this is just after a couple weeks of giving the chickens. They, chickens are very food driven. You can teach a chicken tricks if you use food right. And so this just shows how much they really love and know what the hemp is. And again, I don't know if it's causation or correlation, but there was the one time where when we first started giving the chickens the hemp seed, and all of a sudden their eggs were just a little bigger. They were bigger. They weren't just a little bigger. They were like distinctively bigger. Could have just been what it was. I'm not saying one way. I don't know. Scientifically, we'll have to do a study somehow, whereas, maybe for a week we'll feed them, we'll add the hemp seed in with their regular feed and weigh their eggs and measure them. And then take them off of the hemp seed and weigh their eggs and measure them. I am kind of curious. I would, to see if that's true, because once again, that's just more argument as to why anyone. And of course, we cannot sell our eggs to anyone, because hemp feed is not a registered livestock feed in any state or in the United States, period. So no commercial. You can't commercially feed a chicken hemp seed and then sell the products. It's like you can't feed cows the hemp seed. You can't feed any livestock right now yet hemp seed and then allow it to go to the market. We personally eat or give away our eggs, so they can't tell us what to feed our chickens. And again, this is an FDA thing as much as it's a Department of Agriculture thing, which I think is crazy. It's like, I don't know. I think the Department of Agriculture should have just as much say in livestock feed as the FDA, but I'm pretty sure that the livestock feed will now have to be, and this is just hemp seed again. The FDA has approved hemp seed. There's hemp food. We're okay there. That is an approved FDA food, or I should say GRAS, which is generally regarded as safe. We can't say necessarily approve, but it is generally, hemp seed is generally regarded as safe by the FDA. Now, once again, what we have to do to get the FDA to say, yes, you can put it in livestock, I don't know. I don't understand why. If it's okay for humans to eat it, why can't we feed it to the chickens that we're going to eat? If it's okay for humans to eat it, why can't we feed it to the cows that we're going to eat? That I don't, to me, that doesn't make any, that is another thing from the FDA that makes 0 sense, because hemp food is accepted. It does have nutritional value that you can go and look up. You can put, a daily amount or something, I believe. I don't know if that's possible. I don't know what the FDA recommended daily amount of hemp is. I guess it's really broken down into the protein content, because you're going to, the label's going to say there's this amount of protein in it, not there's this amount of hemp and when. So, again, but that way we can say 7 grams or whatever it is on the label is in here because of the hemp seed, the magnesium, all the vitamins and minerals that are included in hemp seed, and the fiber. If it's whole seed in the product, then you're going to say, hey, it's got this amount of fiber in it, because it is very high in fiber when you do the whole seed. So more issues from the FDA that we need resolved. So stay on them, folks, one way or another. Well, I didn't have any questions. I have clearly given my opinions, my thoughts, my beach thoughts throughout the show. So that being said, folks, thanks for watching. Remember, reduce, reuse, recycle. Make everything else out of hemp. Having Hemptations.
See you all next week.